In this game, violence is rewarded, so learn to enjoy it. Get your shit together!
The other day I was watching a video about cinematography and I didn't know how important is skin color in this
Oh,
for you as a creator. How important was for you to create this claustrophobic environment that we have, that we feel? I felt that
yeah.
when he arrived to the training camp.
Yeah, I mean, for the training camp, we wanted it to feel like in the beginning when he first gets there, there's things are a little bit off visually, but still they start to play football and like we wanted it to feel like, the visual language of the football, like a sports movie genre in the beginning, which is like handhelds, a lot of fluid camera work. But then as things start to kind of get a little strange, we wanted it to feel more contained. The camera becomes more contained. We go with more of a very symmetrical cinematography. We wanted him to feel trapped sort of in this place. So we played with that. And then we also ended up like lighting wise, when we're first at the camp and they're on the field, we wanted to play with like a
Mhm.
lot of top light and just very, neutral sort of lighting. But then as the week goes on, we introduced a lot of different color and shadows and color contrast that happens within the compound. Yeah, to kind of have this different sort of like we go into more of like the psychological horror genre film. So genre tropes.
But
So
who's your closest collaborator in this? Because I felt that the production design is super important in
yeah.
terms of creating that atmosphere. Also with you, because the shadows, the lighting, even the characters' clothing is super important and when you gotta create something visual.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, ultimately, Justin Tipping, our director, was like definitely the closest collaborator, but he created a world where me and then Jordan Ferrer, the production designer, and then Dominique Dawson, the costume designer, were really able to, the four of us we met so many times and just all like, collaborated on how the film should look and like the different color references and all this. And so that was like there was a very close collaboration between all of our departments to make sure we were making one cohesive movie. And then specifically to Jordan Ferrer, the production designer, like we knew that, like, for example, the recovery room, the room where like there's the
Yeah,
sauna, there's a
the
hyperbaric
sauna.
chamber. Yeah, it was one of those places where he we looked at a lot of photos. We looked at like some of the reference was like this artist named James Turrell, who does these installation pieces that have different lighting, like and color work based into that. So Jordan and I were able to figure out how to like to integrate lighting into his set so that no matter which scene was coming up, we were able to I was able to change the color and the color base. And I had this whole document in prep about emotionally what, with color theory about what different colors mean to humans and like what colors we associate things with. And so I really, I had a map of like, okay, in this scene, Cam is should be there should be something he should be feeling, a little bit jealous, or he should be feeling a little bit like unsure and uneasy. And so that once we were able to going into shooting those scenes, I was able to call up those color contrasts and all that stuff, like colors. And so yeah, Jordan was like a really great collaborator in all these beautiful sets that he created.
You also said the Caravaggio was also an influence to create things like this. So
Yeah,
in what
definitely.
sense?
Well, Justin had a lot of like Caravaggio was like as far as like all the shadow work and things falling off. There's that Last Supper scene where there's like a whole table of people where we really wanted to play with this sort of top light and like having the shadows fall off. Like I said earlier, like with Justin, our director, he brought like a lot of references of like 90s Nike ads, which were really stylized, like with stylized with the lighting. And so that's how we wanted to be a little bit of the football. And so, with a lot of top light with some really nice, highlights off of skin tones. And yeah, Justin really brought up a lot of different references that I think were beautiful and definitely like enabled us to push the visuals in a way that is really exciting for the movie.
Well, also, the movie is surrealistic too. There's a lot of scenes that you don't know what's going on. This is real life. This is actually not happening. How do you prepare something like that to fit in the movie? Not also visually, but also in my logical narrative as a spectator.
Yeah, I feel like, so one of the side effects of CTE, of traumatic brain injury, are hallucinations. And so that's what we like read in some of our research of it. And so we really wanted to create this world where, you know, Cam not knowing like whether, he was hallucinating something or if it was really there, and like also keeping the audience on their toes about that. Like there's a scene where he's in that like curving hallway,
Yeah,
and like the plastic happens and all the photographers are there. Like we really wanted it to feel like this is his experience in this place, that he's suddenly unsure of what's real or not. And so there was an element of, shooting that stuff that gave it this feel of like, okay, this can't be happening. Is it happening? Is there something in the shadows behind him? And kind of just keeping the audience and Cam on their toes. So we always, like, whenever I was, when we were doing the lighting, really careful about where shadows were, the idea of things like, in the sauna, like she emerges from the shadow beneath the bench, and like, just kind of playing with this thing of like this space where something can come out of the shadows at any moment. And that's yeah.
I have to say one of my favorite sequences is the last one, because I feel like, as I remember, it's the only one in daylight.
Yeah.
Like it's the only one in daylight, and look what happened. It just forced me as an audience to see what's going on, the violence of that sequence. Why
Yeah.
was what choose to shoot in daytime, in daylight? Like it's like a
Yeah.
purpose to create this, to look away.
I think it was, yeah, I think you touched on it really well there. It was this idea of, at this point, we've been underground, we've been in this place, we've all these things, and nobody knows if it's day or night or any of the things, right? And so when we first emerged from that tunnel, I wanted it to feel like, like if you come from a really dark space and you go outside, it takes your eyes like a little bit of time to adjust and all that. I wanted it to feel like this almost like burning brightness. And I feel like the part of like to do it in daylight was, from Justin and the screenwriters, because it was just like this. I think when things like this ritual or stuff like that happens, usually you think, oh, they're hiding it, it's under the cover of night. This was just like, no, this is like happening in the broad daylight. This is not, these people aren't concerned with hiding anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
this is I think it makes it a little bit more jarring even when it's like in daylight, because you can kind of see every part of it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that sequence was during the day. I think it added like this whole other surreal element to it.
Is there any difference when you have to shoot a character like Marlon Wayans than a newcomer like the actor that plays Cam? Is there any
Yeah.
difference that you have to show him more powerful, less powerful? I don't know how it works.
Well, no, I mean, I think like throughout the shoot, like, Marlon and Tyreek, they were able to, like, they hung out a lot. So they brought their own sort of like chemistry to that role. And I think that, what we did story-wise, we just wanted to always show that like Marlon's character, was he is the teacher, he's the mentor and all this stuff. And then Cam is definitely the student. But at some point in the script, that power balance shifts. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to always track who should be a little bit more powerful in each scene. And I think that was something that I really enjoyed playing with.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Ruben.
I
It's
love the
nice to meet
results.
you.
My pleasure.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.